Hi, this is one of my shortboard models. We're calling it the pregnant rice bubble. Obviously, if you know what a rice bubble is, it looks like one that's maybe pregnant. Sort of fall around the middle section. Now, this is one of my team riders, Chris Tajek's board. It was an experimental one first. There's a few boards on the market that have this sort of fat tail and sort of nose, but really it's been around since the early 80s. McCoy used to do a thing called the Laser Zap, and then he moved into a Nugget. So these ideas aren't new ones that have just come up lately. They've been around for 30 years, okay? Now, it's a specialised board made for really small waves when you want to get up and go, and it's a really simple science. I mean, I don't want to go into the sort of bullshit that a lot of companies go into about how it does this and does that. Basically, if you've ever done water skiing or anything like that, they have these things called toboggans, and they basically look like this type of thing, big, fat and round, and you only got to move them slowly across the water and they lift up and go really easy, and on the snow as well. And then you have a ski, a double ski or a single ski, and they take a lot more force to get them up and going. So this works on the theory that width creates lift, okay? It's no more technical than that, okay? And like a sail, you know, width gives more force. So now the feature of the board, it has a 19-inch tail. Now an average short board probably has about a 14-inch tail. So as you can see, 5 inches more area in that back area of the board. Okay, now with this prototype, I did it with the carbon rails because that's a bit in vogue at the moment, so I thought I'd try it, but really, this one's a stringless as well. But, you know, cost-wise, unless you're getting your boards made in China, it's not really worth, it costs too much to do it, and I don't think it really makes that much difference. But this board, apparently, Chris said, I've seen photos of him surfing it, absolutely rips in 1 to 3 foot waves, okay? Now, I'll just show you the latest version of it, because that's the first one we did, Chris, the prototype. What I decided to do is just do it in the plain blank with a stringer, no carbon on the rails, none of these extra things that, you know, so It has wide laps. The lap is vast around that wide. Okay, now normally a short board has a lap that big. This one goes all the way around here. That's where you get the strength in a board, not the carbon, okay? That's just a bit of a hype. Now, with this board, the bottom shape, like a lot of boards from years gone by, they had a heavy roll or V in the nose, okay, which makes them very forgiving. Gets flat here between the nose and the centre, but the modern twist on it is it goes to a concave, okay, and then the double concave inside that, just like a normal short board, to where your back foot is, except this one here, your back foot's about there, and that's where it's basically flat, touching the stringer and touching the other stringer at the double concave, and then behind it is the V, just like a normal short board. The only difference is that we've increased the area dramatically, okay? Now, with the fins, as you notice the fins, we've got a twin fin as the front fin and an S5. That's a normal shortboard sort of size fin for someone around 70 kilos. Now the reason we have to have such big fins is because of that area. If you had normal shortboard fins, it would just slide uncontrollably. Okay, as well, the fins are set back a little bit further, around the 10-inch mark, 9 3/4 and so forth. So it's really, this is what holds this board in and makes it work when you really want to start surfing it hard. It's sort of a bit hard to fit on the stand because it's so big, so wide in the tail, and the fins are so far back. But as you can see, it's got a super flat deck, and I'll just show that as well. The deck's pretty well flat till about out here, and you start getting towards the tail here, still dead flat. So what we're trying to do is create 2 spots on each rail where there's a lot of volume in this part of the board. So as you're surfing and getting on the rail, there's lots of resistance there, and that's what doesn't sink, and that's what makes you go forward in the real little stuff when you're going really slow. Obviously, if it's 6 foot hollow and cranking, this is nowhere near. You can see that rail there, and I'll just hold it up like that. You can really see the volume in this part of the board there. But it comes down to a really fine rail just behind the back foot, and that's what helps stop it sliding as well. So there's a lot of features in this board which are new, but the idea of surface area is old as anything, okay? So don't get into the belief that it's only been designed in the last few years. Probably you could relate this board to the old S-Decks. They were a pop-out board in the very late 60s, and you know, and it's actually very similar to a point. Just got a few refinements that make the board work a bit better than what the S-Dex did because they were dead flat. Okay, it has a flat rocker through here, one of my flat curves that I do, but the design of it is basically like a shortboard pulled and twisted into all different ways, but you end up with the same board. Now it's something that you'd ride for those days when it's 1 foot and you've either got a choice of taking out a really big mal that's going to cruise really easily, but when you take out this board you can get out there and you can fly. There's a couple of photos above the video here and it shows Chris getting the board right on the rail, the other one, the coloured one, and it really shows how much fun you can make a 1 foot crappy surf. Now the construction, because epoxy is super lightweight. One company, Farrelly's, are doing this blank, and the weight of it is called, they're graded in colours, the weight of it is pink. Now it's super lightweight, this pink grey colour, and it's equivalent to epoxy, and as I say, this is super lightweight. Difference is, when you get a dig in this, with this foam, it's easy to fix with polyester, not expensive. Once you start getting epoxy boards and you get a crease, the repair costs can be up to 3 times as much. So that's why I've kept it simple with the stringer, wide laps, plain white. It's going to be a real easy board to repair because obviously, you know, you're doing radical surf and you're going to bump into people or things maybe, and that's what's going to happen. But this model here is definitely the one for the small days, and it doesn't matter. This one's only a 5'2" for a small guy. You'd probably ride it 6 to 8 inches smaller than your height, but if you're a 110 kilo surfer or 120, we can do this around the 6'2" mark. Obviously a bit wider, be thicker, but you'll still get that same fun. It's for the surfer that really wants to do performance shortboard surfing, but doesn't want to be held back by riding a board just with a shortboard tail and so forth and not be able to get the speed. So, yep, this one is the Pregnant Rice Bubble.